Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. So we continue our reading, our regular reading from Bhagavad Gita. We are in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today is verse number 6. And I try to connect this then also with the theme of our festival, of course, which is Sankirtan and book distribution. So with your blessings and your well wishes, we are able to speak something worthwhile for the audience to listen, that you are also, that your time is rightly invested. Okay. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavastata mat bhava manasa chata yesham loka ima prajaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupadas ki Jai. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages, them and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. Purport. The Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all the 7 great sages, and before them 4 other great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar, and the Manus are manifested. All these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes and innumerable planets within each universe, and each planet is full of population of different varieties. All of them are born of these 25 patriarchs. Brahma underwent penance for 1,000 years of the demigods before he realized by the grace of Krishna how to create. Then from Brahma came Sanaka, Sanandan, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumar, then Rudra, and then the 7 sages. And in this way all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born out of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Krishna is known as Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. That is stated in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 1139. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripata Mahang Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The 7 great sages, and before them the 4 other great sages, and the Manus, the progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. Hare Krishna. So, this 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita has also the famous Chatushlokis of the Bhagavad Gita. Chatushlokis are 4 essential verses of the whole text. And as a prelude to them, we hear these verses where Krishna explains his being the origin of everything in this world. So Krishna is the origin of all the elements, so more or less of the material stuff, which through what the universe is manifested, the elements. But he's also, and this is what is stated here, he's also the origin of all the living entities. All the living entities start off in a grand way, in a grand style. These are very powerful and original living entities emanating from Krishna. And he gives here a little overview of these patriarchs from whom all other living entities are coming from. All of us, so to say, somehow or other come from very exalted living entities. So this is also a very important mission point for the Hare Krishna movement in general, and that life comes from life. And humans don't come from monkeys or apes. This is, of course, now we go off into so many things, but of course, Srila Prabhupada, as the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, he gave also a mission. And one of the most important missions, or points of mission, is to change the paradigm and the worldview and the thinking and the conviction of the materialistic outlook towards life, which is a very, very, very big thing actually when we think about it. The whole world, especially the so-called intelligentsia of the world, thinks in such a way. And Prabhupada said, this is our mission to change that. And he spoke this to a couple of hippies or new people, or let's say sometimes even uneducated. Some were very educated also. He had some scientist disciples. But Prabhupada's mission was so big, so great. His idea was so great. And he gave this to his disciples as his inheritance. We got this, and this is our duty to fulfill his mission. It doesn't mean that all of us should now go out and preaching like in a scientific way. This should be done by educated devotees, or devotees who are educated in this way. And for this, Srila Prabhupada founded the BI, Bhaktivedanta Institute. And he even said that the BBT should give as much money as is needed to this BI, that they can preach and really work in a very professional way to change the scientists, or to change the whole academic and scientific thinking of the world. It's a big thing, right? But that's Prabhupada, right? And it's not just that. It's not just utopian. That is something like impossible, something, or a nice idea. No, it will come actually. It will come. From now to then, it needs some development, and we have some time left, but it will happen. Prabhupada laid the foundation for such big changes. But not just this, in general, all what Prabhupada gave us is to change the world. The Bhagavatam itself is actually the book for the change of the world. Tatvak visargo janataga vipravo yasmin pratishlokam abadavatyapi. In this verse, which is like the motto of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada's presentation of the Bhagavatam, where it's exactly that stated that it's for a re-spiritualization of a materialistic society or civilization. A whole civilization which lost its soul. In that sense, like a zombie civilization. It's not alive. It seems to be alive and moving and developing and all that, but actually it's dead. It's developing into nowhere. Even though we think we're so advanced, or let's say not we, but like especially the Western world thinks itself very, very advanced. And from a purely materialistic point of view, that might be true. There are many things which are amazing advancements in science and in any field of research or technical advancement or sociological advancements. All that, these are somehow, it's interesting that they came about and how they came about and that they could figure it out. It's interesting, yes, but it has no meaning and no purpose, because in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, is it 13? Where we have the list of knowledge, we have a list of knowledge, and Krishna ends this list with saying, all that what I explained now, and it starts with spiritual qualities, this I declare to be knowledge, and whatever else there might be, it's ignorance. I declare to be ignorance. And in this list there's no biology and physics and all that. Nothing about that. There are only qualities which liberate the jiva from the bondage to the material world. This is knowledge. And so Prabhupada was also asked, how many windows, you as Swami, you know everything. How many windows does this building have? And he said, what's the use of knowing how many water particles are in the illusion? Something like this. What's the use of knowing that? But at the same time, Prabhupada gave some credit also to Western world developments. And he said, yeah, you have so many developments, but it's all like zeros. It's all like zeros. But you put the one of Krishna in front, and suddenly it becomes meaningful and there's value to it. So Prabhupada's thinking was big, and we should keep on pushing that. And this is what we do as preachers and teachers and Sankirtan devotees. And those, these are all terms. These are actually all terms for individuals. I'm a teacher, I'm a preacher, I'm a Sankirtan, I'm a book distributor. Yeah, that's all right. But actually what it should be, we should be souls, bhaktas, who are sincerely engaged in devotional service, and growing out of this should come a taste and happiness which needs to be shared with the world. And this should be our focus, a sincere sadhana, and so this natural preaching, a natural sharing of Krishna consciousness, a natural urge to help and to fulfill Prabhupada's desire. One thing is we might think, oh, then I will become merciful. Oh, then I will become merciful and I see how they are suffering. And sometimes we might think like that, but sometimes not. Maybe oftentimes not. Yeah? Because mercy is a huge quality. It's not, oh, I'm a Sankirtan devotee, now I'm merciful. Oh, we are so merciful. Yeah, we follow the ones who are merciful, but how much mercy, real mercy do we have? How much are we crying when we see people are not being Krishna conscious? Yeah. How much are we crying, oh really, this cannot be, how is it he's not Krishna conscious? Please take the mercy of Mahaprabhu. Rarely, maybe some of us, sometimes. Huh? So we should be also honest, okay, we might, but we follow the ones who are really merciful. And Srila Prabhupada is really merciful. He was really merciful. He did this because he wanted to help. And he always said, actually the driving factor why he did all that is because he wanted to please his spiritual master. Even Prabhupada took a humble role and said, I'm so merciful, of course I want to preach and help you, I love you so much. Oh my poor spirit souls, I come to help you. I'm sorry. No, he said, no, I'm just a servant of my spiritual master. So in that sense, it's a realistic motivation. Why we should share and preach and teach, however you want to call it, and preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because we want to serve the spiritual master. And the spiritual master has the desire of his spiritual master, and he has the desire of his spiritual master. And this goes back in the end to Krishna, who is really merciful. And who is really concerned about all these fools and rascals rotting in the material world, missing out the greatest fun and ecstasy and happiness which could be experienced in his association, in his service. Yeah. So this is, I think, should be a realistic motivation for us. But at the same time, when we engage then in preaching, in distributing books, we experience a great happiness. And this is also realistic. Yeah? An ecstasy and a happiness and a satisfaction for the Sankirtan devotee is realistic. And this is not utopian. Oh, I'm so fallen, I'm so bad, I cannot, experience any spiritual happiness. No, you will. Because Krishna is so merciful and he sees this devotee is working so hard, and I don't know many services which are as hard as book distribution is. And all of us who distribute books, sometimes more, sometimes less, on the marathon more, and we invest more time, we know it's very, very difficult. But at the same time, it's such an satisfaction which always brings us out again. And which always lets us sacrifice again our comfort. Yeah. And actually, the more we do it, the less austerity it is also. It's not austerity anymore. It's like for this, the regular full-time book distributor, Sankirtan devotees, it's not so much austerity anymore. It's like their service is what they do, and they get lots of mercy and realization. Yeah. So, this is our mission, and this is our duty. Actually, it's our duty. Mission sounds maybe also vague, but duty is something what we actually have to do. It's actually what we have to do. And there are not many who do that. Today I heard Kadamba Swami in a lecture. He said that there's an estimation that there are 10% of all of ISKCON do 90% of all the work. Yeah. And then he said, maybe this is even an optimistic estimation. Maybe it's not even that. And it's true. Which should not make us negative towards the 90% who do maybe 10%. Everyone has his capacities, okay. Yeah. But what I want to say is that there are not many, and that we know those who really sacrifice this life for the Sankirtan movement. Wholly and solely for the Sankirtan movement. It's very, very rare. And Srila Prabhupada begged his disciples to help him in this regard. And he said to them, please, give at least this one life to Krishna. Only this. You so many lives, you did whatever you want. Now, just give this one life. And so those who are like in the core of ISKCON, like who are really involved, they are those who get in the end the greatest benefit also for their sacrifice. And it's not sacrifice. Sacrifice sounds, I sacrifice. I could do this, that. I'm so great. I sacrifice. It's not also like this. It's actually a privilege. Like to stand on the street and get beaten, maybe not physically, I don't know, some of you might have gotten beaten physically, me never, and nobody ever really touched me, so, and I don't think it's because I'm so nice, just maybe they were, I don't know why, but I heard that somebody who sometimes got even beaten. But we get beaten by their words and by their ignorance and by the surroundings and the mind. It's tough sometimes. But this is a privilege. To be allowed to stand on the street with Srila Prabhupada's books. It's a privilege. And Prabhupada Prabhu always quotes this saying of Prabhupada where he says, when you distribute books, you get easily or quickly recognized by Krishna. Yeah? We should act in a way that Krishna has become aware of us, is interested in us. And book distribution is like the sure way how to reach that. Because Krishna sees he's or she's doing what is really tough. And some of us, it might not be in our nature. Some of us are like very extroverted and very loud and have no problem with approaching any person on the street, and they're devotees like that. But there might be some who are like more introverted, a little bit shy, it's a little difficult. And many of those go out on the street and say, no, I also want to take part, I want to do that. And sometimes they even become the best. Yeah. Krishna can empower. Krishna Shakti Vina Naitara Pravarta. It works by Krishna's Shakti and Krishna's arrangement. In this marathon, I also a couple of times experienced that when I realized it's Krishna doing all that. I say always the same. Maybe there's some of you are very smart and say every time something different. But I say always the same. Especially how I approach the people. Maybe I have 2-3 lines, different lines, and then I say always the same thing, and then let's see how the person reacts, and then let's see where we go. But in general I say always the same thing. So why is someone taking and someone not? I have not so much influence. Of course our desire, we have also, it's not just that we stand there and it happens by accident, and we have to endeavor, of course. But in the end, it's amazing how Krishna arranges this, that books are again distributed. That person says, yes, I take it. Let me take it. Yes, I'll give you a donation. So in that sense, it's actually very mystical. It's very mystical. And sometimes I saw it was very mystical, especially when I was taking shelter in Krishna. When there was a situation, I thought, this is impossible. This is impossible. What can I do here? It's impossible. So many people, so loud or so dark or so fast. I can do nothing. And then you surrender and you think about Krishna as deep as possible in your heart and surrender. You beg for mercy and for shelter and for help. And suddenly, out of like the mass of zombies, like people like walking like brainless in the street, searching for another shopping gift. No time, no, go away. Suddenly, out of this craziness, out of this pandemonia, someone stops. Oh, yes, hello, what do you have? Interesting, like a normal person. It's like a surprise. In such a situation, a normal person whom you can talk to in a normal way, hello, how are you doing? It's like a huge surprise. Impossible. And suddenly one after another of these persons come and agree to take a book. So in general, book distribution is a very, 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 very important service from all points of view, and it's a very important service for us if we do that, because we learn so much. It goes so deep. We find our limits, which is very humbling. Sankirtan is very, very honest. Yeah? Sankirtan book distribution is very honest. It very quickly shows you your real self, so to say. Yeah? In other situations, you might think about yourself in all kinds of wonderful ways. And book distribution very quickly dismantles that, breaks that to pieces, and shows the limit, where we become intolerant or angry or frustrated or whatever. Where we see, where is the demon inside? Because we think, no, I'm a devotee, I'm very nice, I'm so humble also. Yeah, no, I'm not too humble, I don't want to be too proud, but I'm humble, it's good, I'm humble. And I have some happiness, and I'm serving Krishna sincerely. Yeah. I only want Krishna, yeah. And on book distribution you see the other side, the other face, the dark side of the moon. That's what you never see. Because the moon is showing always one side, one face. The other you never see. And this comes out. Book distribution is very honest. And this is very helpful. Because this is the block, this is the thing what stands in front of us and Krishna. And on book distribution, many services, also, but on book distribution especially, it's shown. And the only thing we have to do, we have to accept it. Yes, I'm a fool, I'm a rascal, I'm very limited, I have this quality of this tendency. And now I know what is the problem, I can work on it. It's very good. Yeah. So, much can be said, of course, and the next days we will hear a lot about the philosophy and about the experiences of devotees. And these gatherings are very important, that we see that we're all in the same boat, all in the same struggle. And when we're alone sometimes on the street or in a small group, we might think, I cannot do so much on this and that. But we all are in the same boat. We all struggle together. It's a worldwide movement. It's a miracle that that movement spread, and it's spreading more and more. And this is not the end of the Hare Krishna movement in its manifestation. There will come so much more. Many things we will see in our lifetime. We are all quite young. But so many things will come which we will not see, which will happen in future. And we can say, I hope to see it. I will come back in another life and help more. Or you should think, let's go back to Krishna after this life. I think it's a personal choice. Something like this, something like that. But this Hare Krishna movement is most glorious, that we can take part. It will be for our eternal benefit. We should never leave this movement, and it doesn't matter what will happen. We should stick around, always grab the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and also of the devotees. And this is only possible if we have real friendships and relationships and all that. We have to do a lot, because a life is long. Some time ago I thought tomorrow I will die. But I figured out life is longer than expected. I found out life is longer than expected, and there's a lot to do. Yeah. So, and it's very interesting. And the life in the Hare Krishna movement is very interesting. We should be so happy that we have this chance, that we can be together with devotees and really do the most important for us and the world. And it's amazing what will come. We just have to be open for Krishna's arrangements. We have to be open for Krishna, because Krishna loves everyone and takes care of everyone. And He fulfills all desires in a way that we are not degraded. And He helps and is always there. You just have to trust Him and work and engage in this way. And it's amazing. Krishna is so merciful for each and everyone. We don't have to worry about anything. We should not go into the relationship with Krishna and devotional service with a materialistic or egoistic or fruitive mentality. It's not necessary, because Krishna knows, and He will fulfill and will help, and we don't have to worry. Just have to serve Him sincerely. Ananyas chinta yantamang yechana paryupasate Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. 9:22 of Bhagavad Gita, where it says that just serve me unalloyed, ananya, that means like with exclusiveness. Put your mind, your consciousness with exclusiveness in me, worship me, serve me, and I will take care of you completely. How is the saying? I maintain what you have and I carry what you lack. I give you what's missing. And He knows best. He's in our heart. He has perfect understanding. He has X-rayed us completely from upside down, inside out. And He loves us, so we'll help. We just have to follow in the footsteps of our spiritual masters, stick around, be as good as we can be, and shouldn't worry about us, because Krishna is very kind. And the more we experience that, the more we want to share that naturally, because we can tell the people, don't worry, chant Hare Krishna. It's good for you. Everything will be alright. Just chant Hare Krishna. Take this book. Read this book. It's most wonderful. Do it. Because you know it. Because you experience it. So thank you so much for your short attention. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much that I could say something. I wish you a nice festival. And Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. One, what now? Oh, if there could we have a little bit of time for if there are some questions or someone wants to add something. Yes?
I've always wondered, what does it mean that we are descending from the saints and Brahma especially? Like, what does descending mean? Are we particles of Brahma? Like atoms are particles of our body? Is it the lineage of being born and being reborn and reborn and reborn? But what does descending mean?
Okay, in general, the soul, what we are, is not made from... You mean Brahma, the creator?
Well, the verse is saying that we're descending from the saints and from that. Brahma, exactly. We're descending from. The saints are descending from Brahma. We're descending from the saints.
Yes.
And what does descending mean?
Yeah, in that sense, I understand from up to down. So it's so-called a devolution. It's not an evolution, not from the simple to the complex. It's from the complex to the simple. These higher living entities, so they are higher. They're higher in any way. They are locally higher. Their nature is higher. They have more capabilities in a material way. I mean, they have a higher consciousness. They have more subtle bodies. They are higher living entities, and they are the first. They are the first, from Krishna to Brahma, and from them, as we heard here, all this branches of living entities spread out. And then it gets more and more physical, it gets more and more gross, so to say, more embodied, so to say. And but the souls themselves, they are not from this emanation. They are spiritual, they are from another realm, they are eternal. But every one of us, by karma, gets into a certain body and a certain hierarchy in this, or in a certain place in this hierarchy. So, and descending, as I explained, is from up down. This is our understanding. Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedic scripture, explained that. This is how living entities come about, from higher living entities. And so this is more or less the point. Yeah.
But not in a spiritual way.
Not in a spiritual way, in a material way. Yeah, this is a material way. This is this. Prabhupada always explains this from the subtle to the gross. In any way, this is how the matter gets manifested, from the subtle to the material, and also the living entities from the subtle to the more gross. And we as humans, we are in Bhumandala. We're like in the middle. It's at the middle planetary systems. You have 7 higher planetary systems. And we're in the middle, but we are also the lowest of this higher. Underneath us, they are the lower planetary systems. So we are not that high, actually. We're not that high. So most of these, on the higher planets, they are more subtle, more gross, they live longer, they are higher living entities. So they are also locally higher in the universe than a higher plane. And Satya Loka, the highest, this is where Brahma resides. Yeah. Yes? Hare Krishna. Something more? Good. So maybe we end here, we chant a couple of minutes Hare Krishna, and then we can And thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Prabhupadas ki Srila Prabhupadas ki